Have you ever felt that the deeper you think, the more distant you become from those around you? As if the more you understand, the less the world wants to hear it. If so, you're not alone. Throughout history, society has been uneasy around deep thinkers, not because they are wrong, but because they reveal what others would rather ignore. From Socrates to Galileo, from Nietzsche to Tesla, the greatest minds have often found themselves at odds with the very world they sought to enlighten. They were not rejected for lack of intelligence, but because their insights disrupted the comfort of the status quo. Arthur Schopenhauer, one of the most brutally honest philosophers, even believed that intelligence was less of a gift and more of a burden, one that isolates those who see the world too clearly. But why does this happen? Why does society instinctively resist those who think differently? The answer lies deep within human psychology. The mirror effect. Why intelligence makes people uncomfortable. Imagine this. When you stand next to someone physically strong, you don't necessarily feel weak. You admire their strength. If you meet someone wealthy, you might envy them, but it doesn't shake your identity. But when you encounter someone intellectually superior, something shifts. It's called the mirror effect. Deep thinkers don't just present new ideas. They reflect back the intellectual limitations of those around them. And that is rarely forgiven. The very presence of a deep thinker can make people feel inadequate, even if no words are spoken. This reaction isn't rational, it's emotional. Intelligence, unlike physical strength or material wealth, is directly tied to self-perception. We define ourselves by our beliefs and knowledge, so when those beliefs are challenged, it feels deeply personal, like an attack on our very identity. This is why, throughout history, society has marginalized its deep thinkers. Their insights don't just challenge ideas, they challenge egos. And humans, by nature, will go to great lengths to protect their egos from discomfort. Why society resists deep thinkers. Have you ever tried to bring up a deep or complex idea in casual conversation, only to be met with awkward silence? Have you noticed how discussions often shift away when they begin to challenge widely accepted beliefs? This isn't just coincidence, it's a defense mechanism. When people encounter a deep thinker, their minds shift into self-preservation mode. Instead of being curious, they resist. Instead of engaging, they dismiss. It's why intellectuals, philosophers, and visionaries often find themselves isolated. Not because they seek solitude, but because society unconsciously pushes them away. Studies have shown that confidence is often valued more than intelligence in social settings. People gravitate toward those who project certainty, even if their ideas lack depth. This is why charismatic but simplistic thinkers gain more influence than those who explore the complexities of truth. Think about history's most celebrated figures. Many of them weren't the deepest thinkers, but the most confident speakers. Meanwhile, those who questioned widely accepted beliefs often struggled to gain a following. This is the paradox of intelligence. The deeper one seeks truth, the more disconnected they become from the majority. The neuroscience of rejection. But is there scientific evidence that intelligence provokes discomfort? Modern neuroscience suggests that it does. Studies show that when people feel intellectually inferior, their brain's amygdala, the center for fear and threat detection, becomes highly active. In other words, deep thinking isn't just intimidating, it can trigger the same survival instincts as facing physical danger. But why would intelligence activate the brain's fear response? The answer lies in human evolution. For most of human history, survival depended on social belonging, not intellectual superiority. Our ancestors thrived in tribes where social cohesion meant safety. Being rejected by the group could mean death, which is why our brains are wired to prioritize fitting in over standing out. When a highly intelligent person enters a social setting, they unknowingly disrupt this tribal balance. Their presence challenges group dynamics, social norms, and existing beliefs, triggering an instinctive defense mechanism. Instead of embracing new perspectives, people often perceive intelligence as a threat. This explains why deep thinkers frequently feel alienated, not because they lack social skills, but because their intelligence sets them apart in a world that values conformity. A 2021 study at Stanford found something even more intriguing. The rejection of intelligence is context-dependent. When people engage with an intellectual one-on-one, they feel less threatened. But in group settings, the fear response spikes. Why? Because in groups, social status becomes paramount. If someone feels outshined, they instinctively seek to undermine or exclude the person who threatens their standing. This is why deep thinkers often find engaging conversations in private settings, but struggle in larger social environments. Cognitive biases that work against deep thinkers. Psychologists have identified several cognitive biases that further explain why intelligence is often met with resistance. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Those with limited understanding often overestimate their intelligence, while truly intelligent people tend to doubt themselves. This creates friction, as those who know little may dismiss those who think deeply. Status quo. Bias. Human brains favor familiar ideas over complex truths. Intelligence often disrupts this balance, making people uncomfortable. BBHV. The backfire effect. When faced with evidence contradicting their beliefs, most people don't change their minds. They double down. This is why deep thinkers often find their insights rejected, even when they are logically sound. The digital age, a new challenge for deep thinkers. In today's digital world, this rejection of intelligence has been amplified. Social media prioritizes engagement over depth, meaning that simple, emotionally charged content spreads faster than nuanced, well-reasoned discussions. The more intellectual someone is, the harder it becomes to condense their ideas into viral sound bites. As a result, society increasingly favors entertainment over enlightenment, making it even more difficult for deep thinkers to gain widespread acceptance. Yet there is hope. While mainstream platforms may resist depth, alternative communities and dedicated intellectual circles continue to thrive. The internet, despite its pitfalls, allows thinkers to connect in ways never before possible. Embracing the role of a deep thinker. So, what does this mean for deep thinkers? The resistance to intelligence isn't just social, it's biological, psychological, and cultural. It's woven into human nature, reinforced by group dynamics, and magnified by modern technology. But this doesn't mean deep thinkers should stop sharing their ideas. It simply means they must understand the forces working against them. If society resists intelligence, it's not because intelligence lacks value. It's because truth is rarely comfortable. As Schopenhauer once said, the person who writes for fools is always sure of a large audience. But for those who seek deeper understanding, the path is lonelier. Yet, in that solitude there is clarity. In that isolation there is freedom. And perhaps, in the end, that is the price of true wisdom. For those who think deeply, the world may never fully embrace you, but that does not mean you are lost. It simply means you are walking a path few dare to tread.